So in the last 30 days, 592 customer visits have been driven by the campaign, which is pretty awesome.
Seems like it's working.
Thank you for joining me today, John. I would like you to just kind of briefly introduce yourself, your business, and talk about basically like the main challenges that you guys were facing just in like approaching marketing itself and kind of getting new customers in the restaurant before you started working with us.
Sure. My name's John Mallory, and my wife and I own Landline Doughnuts and Coffee. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold. My voice is pretty funny. Let's see. So yeah, we're a new business. We've been open about a year and a half. We don't have a business background, so we were looking for assistance with marketing specifically. And we make kind of artisan donuts, so it's kind of a little bit of an education for the Longmont area, what that is, and so we need to get over a little bit of a hurdle about educating the public what it is and why they might be a little bit more expensive, and just trying to get people in the door because once they try the donuts, they love them. So
Exactly.
we appreciate you guys' help on this.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that like this system is great for is like it gives you an at bat. It gives you the opportunity to get someone in the door and give them something that for you guys, your donuts is like your thing that you do. That's why people come to you. So that's why you've chosen to do 2 free donuts on the first visit that a customer visits. I know when I spoke to you the first time, there was a little bit of apprehension about, hey, how much is this going to cost us to do all these free donuts? Like the cost of the donuts and that adding up, what's that going to look like? It's like your apprehension before, what was that like and how has that changed for you?
Well, and part of the apprehension initially was if we like on a Saturday, if we're gonna sell out anyway, then if we're giving X amount away, it feels like a loss, even though it's a new customer.
Hmm.
But on the days we're not selling out and people come to the door, we feel great. So it's you can't have it both ways, and it's giving up control. We have kind of set a course with our business, and we make all the decisions, and it's a little difficult to say, hey, you guys have done this before, but why don't we give you some money and you can make it happen? But I can say that it has. We feel like it has been successful, and really just about the quantity of people that we've met since we started the program. So, we were kind of looking at the numbers, but really it was about we kind of know daily about how much of the crowd is first time or second time versus someone we've already established as a customer.
Right.
And so that's increased by a lot.
That's awesome. Glad to hear that. And yeah, I mean, as we just kind of like reviewed, we just did a little bit of review of the numbers and where we stand so far. It looks like a lot to give away. People say they're giving away the house by giving away things and doing a big offer to get someone in, but it's worth it to give away 2 30-cent donuts. Here we know it costs 60 cents to give away 2 donuts, and we know it costs, we'll call it $2 to get a customer to walk through your door. So you're all in at $2.60 cost. They're spending $5 on average. So you're just about doubling your money off that customer's first visit, which is awesome to see. And I was really happy to see that when we looked through your data.
Yeah.
And we're right at the 6 month mark with John, just for anybody watching. So we tracked 3,438 people that walked through your door in the first 6 months. And that basically equates to 573 customer visits on average a month. Is that more or less than you thought that you would be getting when you first started this?
Well, it's more. Uh, One of the things is since we're so new, we're like, our assumption is, doesn't everyone know we're here? Like, it's been kind of the talk of the town,
Right.
but
And you're in a small
really, it's really those first first adopters, customers who want to try something new. That they've been all over us, but really, it's the day to day person who really never thinks about new shops or new concepts, or it takes them a long time to try something new.
town.
That's what
Right.
we want to get, and that's who the coupon's reaching, especially through the social media.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I mean, your ads have been seen by 90,000 people within a 10-mile radius of your business in the last 6 months. So that's a ton of people. And, even though you are in like one of those walking areas of Longmont, it's like this is I say that this is the new form of walking traffic. And instead of walking by, they're scrolling by your ad. They're seeing an attractive ad offer that, not only is it an ad with a beautiful video that you had done by a local Denver artist there who does amazing videography, but he made your video look so awesome that someone's going to stop at that ad, and then they're saying, "Oh, 2 free donuts!" Like, this is a no-brainer. So,
Yeah.
it's an awesome, powerful, attractive ad combined with an offer, and that those two things together is kind of like the power of this entire system.
Well, what's funny with social media, people have this funny personalization to it. They think that we sent that to them
Yeah,
specifically, and our the people who are our current customers, even if they're getting it, they come in and they're so grateful, like, "Wow, you didn't have to do this. I'm already coming in," and so it's a funny dynamic as far as our current customers, but we were glad to do it.
yeah. I mean, that's a good point because I saw a video long ago. It was with a I'm not sure if you're familiar with Gary V. He was discussing a system where you're going up to a customer in a restaurant, so you would touch a table and say, "Hey, is it your first time here? Like, next time you come in, you got to try our donuts. Donuts is what we do." And he's putting a coupon on the table, and Gary makes a comment. And he's like, "Hey, what would a guy who's sitting at the table over, who's a regular, feel if you were just giving him that coupon to a new guy, but he wasn't being appreciated?"
Right.
So
Sure.
and he says, like, you want to appreciate your existing customers as well. So a lot of our clients, when they come on board, they're like, we want to make sure that this is for just new customers, like exclude our audience. I'm like, hey man, like people are gonna see this that are your existing customers, and I think that, like, if you can bring that person back in a short amount of time and give them those 2 donuts, and they're coming in, they're spending 5, like that's a win-win because they're super pumped about it. Like you just said, they feel like they're valued and you're giving them something special. So that's a
Right.
really cool point that you just made. And in addition to that, like you said, that it feels like it's coming from you. And that's something that we really make sure that we're doing when we set this up, right? We spent a lot of time like, hey, I want you to speak to me in your voice, how you guys want to deliver your message. And each one of these emails is a chance to tell a brand story. So we told the story of, Jody's father and grandfather, like making donuts back when they were young, and like the history of Landline Donuts and what a potato donut is. So not only do you get the ad, you get a email that goes into that customer's inbox that tells a story and introduces them to the brand. And there's sort of like, you know, it's it's a walking through of making them fall in love with you as a brand through 3 coupons and teaching them something on each step, which is also another added value of this whole thing, which is kind of cool that you touched on
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So I guess you talked about why you kind of like started to do this program, but like I'm sure you were approached by other marketing companies that were offering different things, and I'm sure people reached out to you. What made you ultimately choose myself or MAZA to work with?
My experience with some marketers has been less positive as
Hmm.
far as uh, they were all about the sale, and the sale being selling me to buy from them instead of customers coming in to buy from me. Uh,
That's
and so
interesting.
it felt really like uh, I wasn't going to get what they were promising. And ultimately, we felt comfortable with you, Zach, and how you present the information. So we're like, let's do it.
That's awesome. So, in other words, you were kind of like over promised and under delivered by people, or like what were the things that they were like trying to promise you that you
Or
just felt like
the
it made you feel like
them
you weren't going
just
to get any money out of it?
just like for like print ads in a local magazine. Uh, you know, this one lady was like, the writing in here deserves a Pulitzer. And I take a look at it. I'm like, I don't think so. This is like third grade English. I don't think so. And and it just I don't know. I think it's something in the culture right now where people really gaslight everybody, and it just seemed like you were sincere. You had specific goals, and we could look at the numbers over time and make adjustments. And so it didn't seem like that big of a risk.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean it's funny you touch on like the local publications and things. I was just speaking to another client about that yesterday about how he still has people coming up and telling him, I need to be in this. You need to be in this cover of the magazine, or you need to be on this. Like, give us $3,000 to be in our magazine that comes out next month. Plus, we'll put you on the website. And he's like, Unless
Yeah.
you can give me a customer for $2.50 from that, then I'm not putting my money anywhere else. And that's what's kind of cool about this is like you can finally have something that is like trackable down to the dollar, as we just saw. And when you have something like that, it seems foolish to put your money anywhere else. If you're going to spend more money, you spend it on this because if you put in a dollar in, as we just saw, you're getting two out. So it's like, compared to the old styles of advertising where you're putting, print billboards or you're doing something in a newspaper, or even the newer styles, right? Like we have influencers who I'm sure like they come in there or like message you on Instagram and they want to come eat for free. And it's nice. It's a good way to get your brand out there to people. And some influencers are better than others, obviously. But when you're giving that to that influencer and they make a video, some of them might come in and you don't really know what you're getting out of it. So
Right.
it's a good way to have a predictable way to know how many customers are going to come through your door every month, and it doesn't take any of your time. Can you kind of touch on like how much time have you spent on managing this campaign since we got it launched in the last 6 months?
Oh yeah, really just in the processing of the coupons. So I mean, working with the customer. So behind the scenes, not very much at all. Just look at the numbers sometimes with you, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's it's on our website. Like our main thing is like let us worry about where your customers are coming from so you can focus on running your business. And that's one of the biggest pitches of this, because a lot of companies are coming out and they're like they want to sell you on software and all these things like loyalty programs that you have to manage and all their software that you have to figure out and learn and take a master class on to figure out. It's like we just come in, we take everything. It's a completely done for you process. We're sending you customers and all you have to do is just provide a good product and good service. So I think that's one of the other bigger selling points that people kind of miss out on.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just kind of curious. You said you're just over a year old now. So what kind of growth have you seen in the last 6 months compared to the prior 6 months?
Probably seen just an estimate. We've probably seen a 20% increase of sales,
Wow.
total sales, uh, month over month. So we're doing really well.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's great to hear. I mean, it's obviously a testament to what you guys are doing in the service that you provide. And, it's a beautiful space for anybody who's in Denver, Colorado. Please go check them out. But like, it's a testament to all these things combined with your willingness and, your willingness to kind of do something like this, because it takes a lot to step out on a ledge, like you said, and trust someone with your money. You guys, as you mentioned, didn't come from a business background, but you're now running a very profitable business for yourself, and people love it. And I got to commend you on doing that, because it takes a lot of kahunas, if you will, to do that and put your whole life savings on the line. And that's one of the biggest things. Like one of our guys that we spoke to yesterday, he was like, "Yeah, like my biggest apprehension at the beginning was I just put my entire life savings on the line, and I needed to get customers in the door." And that was my biggest concern. He's like, I didn't care how it was done. I just needed to put my trust in someone to do it. So, we thank you for doing that with us and giving us the trust and giving myself the chance to show you what we can do. That's the biggest hurdle for us, is getting that trust from restaurant owners. So we appreciate you.
yeah, and specifically, even regardless of the amount of the coupon or how many donuts and all that stuff, really for us, if we can get them in the door, then we know we'll get a return customer. So
Exactly.
you guys are helping us get more people just to come through and look at it or to taste the donuts or whatever. But we feel like we have enough of a presence that they'll like something and they'll return.
Yeah, it gets you an at bat, as Nick from Post Oak said to me yesterday. He's like, it gives us the at bat, and that's all we need, because we're 900 plus hitters here. So he's like, we're gonna hit the ball out of the park if someone can come in. So it just that's the coolest thing to hear, is that if someone comes in, if you're confident in what you're doing and you know that someone's gonna come back, then give them a little bit for free. But if you're not confident enough in that, then you should probably just get out of business now, right? Like, what's the
Right.
point of what you're even doing?
Yeah, yeah.
So would you recommend working with MAZA Marketing and using our click to table funnel to other restaurant owners, and why?
Yeah, so specifically this model, this click to table model, it so like once the system gets set up, once you've got your emails language, once you have the video, you can just push that out at appropriate times. Customers start coming in on our end, and it just runs itself. So that's why it works for us. We're not having to manage each piece. Our job is to meet the customer, give them a good experience, and then look at the numbers after that.
Exactly. Yeah, and just to clarify, all that initial setup is all done by us, right? You didn't have to do any
Right.
of this aside from just approve the emails that we were
Right.
written. So just so other restaurant owners know, like the onboarding part is the hardest, hurdle to get over, but all that work is on us. We do everything for you and then just give it to you for approval, and then you just kind of hit go. So it's nothing that you're having to, lay your hands on. You're not having to run ads or create emails or draft up anything. It's just kind of all sent to you and kind of handled that way. So what's been your favorite part about working with MAZA marketing, over the last 6 months?
Well, I think it's just been an education for us to see. Uh, Basically, we have lots of agreements with or contracts with different people for different pieces of our business.
Hmm.
And I feel like there's been better communication with you about not only what to expect, but then to follow up, say, okay, what's actually happening. Uh, I've got a contract with a fire detection service, and I called them after a year and said, hey, what are you doing for me? I paid you all up front. I was supposed to get an inspection yearly. I haven't heard one word. I need the inspection. That's why I'm calling. But that hasn't been the case with your marketing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Do you have any final thoughts or anything before we wrap? Anything you want to tell other business owners or anybody about your business in particular?
Well, I would just say that looking at the return of investment and the cost of acquiring a client or a customer, it seems to be this is really working for us, and I think other businesses give it a shot, and you'll know within weeks how it's going.
Yeah, that's a great point. The speed at which this picks up is one of the biggest benefits to the system, because you know instantly whether it's working and what's not working, and we're making adjustments constantly and testing different ads and making sure that everything is dialed in as much as possible. But yeah, the second you turn on that ad, I think you had a customer come in the door the very same day that we turned the ads on, which was kind of cool to see.
Right.
And that's a good feeling for people who are spending the money, because they can kind of take a deep breath and be like, okay, this is actually going to work. So that's cool.